Primary system on the game of the night in volleyball, and we're in Brownsville, Texas, as we have the Brownsville Rivera Lady Raiders taking on the visiting McAllen Lady Bulldogs. Both of these teams were just recently in action at the Pound Fest, a tournament which was played out in McAllen, and the Lady Bulldogs were victorious, taking the championship in tournament play. They both made it to the semifinals. Of course, Mac High ended up winning it all. Brownsville Rivera, an up-and-coming young squad on their home floor, will get tested by the Bulldogs. Live coverage coming your way here tonight. Thanks again for joining us. We'll be back with more, and we'll get you closer to the start of this one right after this. This is Rio Sports Live from Brownsville, Texas. Volleyball on a Tuesday.
How to add the VTX1 app to your Roku device. All your favorite shows from VTX1 Channel 1 and exciting games broadcast on Rio Sports Live can be added onto your Roku device by following these simple steps. Step 1. Scroll down to search and push OK on the remote control. Step 2. Type in VTX1 by using the arrow keys to move the cursor around the keyboard and pushing OK to enter the letters. When you're done, choose the VTX1 option on the right-hand side of the screen. Then push OK. Step 3. Choose the Add Channel option on the right-hand side of the screen and wait for the application to load. Congratulations! You have now successfully added the VTX1 app to your channel lineup. It can be found on the main screen under Home at the bottom of the list. For more information, visit the VTX1 website at vtx1.net/OTT.
Back here on Rio Sports Live, as you see live here on the court, the Brownsville Rivera Lady Raiders out warming up as their service time has arrived here on the pregame show, and the McAllen Lady Bulldogs also involved in pre-serves as we are getting closer to the opening serve of this one. The contest will be played out in a varied way here between these two teams as you look at the way they played this past week. McAllen brings a ton of firepower. They bring big hitters across the front. They also can attack from the back row. Rivera established himself as a team that is above most when it comes to returning of big hits and keeping balls in play and making the pass, allowing their teammates to set up their hitters, which in this case, Kenya Ibarra is their primary hitter. They'll rotate her around to various spots, and they'll utilize her after the defense makes the big play. We saw them in games last week able to frustrate opponents who would get great sets, big hits, and then suddenly the ball's returned right back at them over and over and over again. This game here tonight, Rivera will be tested. There's no question about it. McAllen will bring the firepower, and it'll be at an elevated level compared to what they've seen thus far on the year. It's a preparation game for both of these teams, as again, everything used during this part of the season is to eventually get geared up for the district play. And in district play, both of these teams are among the teams that are talked about as far as teams capable of being not only in the playoffs, but being at the top of the district when it's all said and done. Rivera, once again, comes in as the young squad, a team that is only going to get better as the season goes on, and already they're playing at a high level. We'll be back with the opening serve. Brownsville Rivera, McAllen. This is Rio Sports Live High School Volleyball.
Clean up in the produce aisle. Men, start the new year off right. Alpha Men's Primary Care wants to remind all men it's time for your annual physical. Call to schedule an appointment. It's about the body, mind, and emotion. Stop feeling sluggish, having no energy, or being stressed. Alpha Men's Healthcare believes in a holistic approach to your overall health. Even if you have low testosterone, diabetes, high blood pressure, or gained weight, let Alpha Men's Primary Care help you increase your energy, stamina, endurance, and quality of life. Start feeling young again. Alpha Men's Primary Care is changing the way men's healthcare is done.
Hi, we're Robert Mills, Avery Hats, and thank you for watching Real Sports Live.
Back here at Rio Sports Live, we'll take a look at the starting lineups being announced. The entire teams will be introduced first. We'll try to pick up the PA announcer, see if we can get his voice.
Number 2, Ada Sadea. Number 3, Olivia Tight. Number 4, Maddie Homkamp. Number 5, Sabrina Garza. Number 6, Maddie Garza. Number 7, Katie Moore. Number 9, Andrea Doha. Number 10, Alexa Ramirez. Number 11, Selena Saenz. Number 12, Audrey Zamora. And now, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for your Lady Raiders. Number 4, Katie Morris. Number 5, number 6, Arnoldo Guzman. Number 8, Christina Garza. Number 10, Michelle Guerra. Number 11, Karen Guerra. Number 12, Berlin Manoya. Number 13, Orlando Ramarza. Number 14, Kenny Ibarra. Number 15, Marisa Olivares. Number 18, Emily Morales. Number 22, Patricia Aguirre. Number 23, Lisa Zuniga. And number 25, Ashley Tapia. The Lady Raiders are going to ride very little Guerra.
So there's your lineups for the two teams, and now they'll have the playing of the national anthem. We'll just keep it right here. And so now we are closer to the opening serve of this one. Brownsville Rivera takes on McAllen. First serve of game one of the best of 5 right after this.
Hola, les habla su amigo Benjamín Gómez, el alcalde de San Benito, invitando a toda la gente que venga a visitarnos aquí a San Benito. Crucen por el puente Los Indios, más bien conocido como el puente de Lucio Blanco. Visítenos a las atracciones que tenemos aquí en San Benito. Aquí los esperamos. Muchas gracias. Su amigo Benjamín Gómez.
South Padre Island Golf Club. Come for a visit. Stay for a lifetime.
Back here on Rio Sports Live as they have brought the two teams out, and now they'll meet at the net before the opening serve. Mackay on the road. The McAllen Lady Bulldogs will be playing in another tournament this weekend as they'll be making their trip to San Antonio. Meanwhile, Brownsville Rivera will be in action at the Mission Veterans Tournament. We'll also be at that tournament. We're covering that one this weekend coming up. We're also covering the Port Isabel Volley at the Beach tournament. So we'll have two tournaments for the second week in a row here on Rio Sports Live, with coverage coming your way from start to finish. Brownsville Rivera will be in the darker uniforms here on their home court. Decent crowd filing in over here. Earlier on, it was a sparse crowd. It's Meet the Parent night here at Brownsville Rivera, so as we got here to the parking lot, this place was packed. We didn't know what to expect. We thought it might be a gym in which we weren't going to have a seat. Well, that's not quite the case, as there's a ton of parents here that are meeting teachers as the opening of school starts tomorrow. Lady Bulldogs will be on the left-hand side as you take a look here on the screen. My wife Dahlia at the camera after working a full day has assisted me, meaning that I still have the little help wanted sign dangling out there. Need camera operators to help us, not just through volleyball, but through football season and the other sports as well. If you're interested, you see the number on the screen. Send me a text message if nothing else. Brownsville Rivera to serve it up, and away we go. First serve of the first game. This is a best of 5. Each game to 25 in the first 4. We get to game number 5. We will have a game to 15. Point to Mackay on the opening serve, and the Lady Bulldogs out to the 1-0 lead. Back to the service line is Selena Signs. Signs, a right-handed server, will serve from the center of the court. Deep to the back row, played by Rivera. Set it up, Ibarra off the net, spikes it down on the back corner. That's in for a point. Rivera ties it at 1 apiece. Kenya Ibarra with the kill. And that's the hitter that they'll go to. It's not they don't have other hitters, but if Ibarra gets a chance, she certainly is capable of putting it away to end a rally. Short serve this time. Lady Bulldogs on the attack. A high set center. Gonzalez hammers that one off the back row. Kept alive by the Raiders. Back over on the Mackay side. Bulldogs on the attack again. Back set this time. Spiked across off the hand of Ada Sadlier. Ball on the Raider side. That's off the block, and Ibarra attacks again and scores the point. That's the recipe for Rivera to stay in this game, and that is get to the first big hit, keep the ball alive, sustain the rally, and then if you get a chance to attack right back at it, you take advantage and don't miss. Serve across for the Bulldogs on the return. Punched over on the second hit, in the net called though against Rivera, and a point to Mackay. That's things you can't do once you reach that level. That point was awarded to Rivera, as in the net was called on Mackay. So the Brownsville Rivera Lady Raiders with an early lead. Miscommunication on the back of that serve. Attack point for the Raiders. Center punched by the Bockers. Right back at you on the Rivera side. Set up Ibarra. Tipped it off the block. Tipped out of bounds on the block, and another point to Rivera. Ibarra that time didn't get set for the big approach, but nonetheless the angle of the blockers was coming at her in such a way that it landed out of bounds after the touch. Short serve this time. Pass up near the net. Tipped over on the McAllen side. Ball back on the Raiders side. Good pass. A high set this time. That's Clarissa Olivares is the setter. Ball on the back row. Played by the Bulldogs. Set up Gonzalez. Tips it over. Covered this time by the Raiders. A high set to Ibarra on that left side. Over. Tipped up by Gonzalez. Quick set right back to Lexi Gonzalez. Down the line. Point. Makes it 4-2. Gonzalez able to attack on that one. 4-2 ball game as the Lady Bulldogs will substitute in the ball game. Sabrina Garza checks into the game. Garza will be serving, a right-handed server. Gets that across. Played by Rivera on a high set. Spiked across. That's too strong off the back row, and a point to the Lady Bulldogs. 4-3 game. Bulldogs now serving to tie it up here in game 1. Good pass this time by the Raiders. Set it up center for Ibarra. Off the block, tip right back over on the Rivera side. Bad pass this time, goes out of bounds, and a point to Mackay. Back row that time was able to dig that. Rochelle Guerra back there as the libero for Brownsville Rivera. Another serve for Sabrina Garza. Got it across. Good pass this time. Back row attempt, and Guerra puts that over. Down for the point for Rivera. They go up 5-4. Guerra, just a freshman playing back there as a libero. We saw them use her during the Donna Leagues over the summer as an attack point as a back row hitter. Gonzalez from off the net shows she can attack from anywhere on the court. Ball across. Guerra finds another spot. Rivera goes back up by 1 at 5-4. Guerra on the kill. Check that now. It's a 6-4 game. Rivera on top here in game 1. Back to serve for Brownsville Rivera. Clarissa Olivares. Olivares puts it into play. Ball over on the Mackay side on a back set. Across the court. That angle's out of bounds, and a point to Rivera. Wondered how Mackay would look on the road after the tournament, knowing that they're hitting the road again in just 2 days ahead to San Antonio. Serve across. Bulldogs pass it up near the net. Back to Gonzalez. Got it across. Guerra there to dig it. High set Olivares to Ibarra off the block. That's off a fingertip. Another point for Rivera, and they go up 8-4. Brownsville Rivera with the early lead here in game 1. What we witnessed with this McAllen team is that when a team did challenge them over in that Mackay Pound Fest, they responded in big ways. Gonzalez hammers that one down. Easy point, makes it 8-5. Lexi Gonzalez on the kill. Want to send a shout out back to Daniel Zamora, watching the game from New York. Serve across. Raiders on the attack with a back set this time. That's off the block, another point. This time as Ibarra rotated right side, the back set got it right on the money. Now Ibarra rotates to the back row as a server for Brownsville Rivera. Entered the game, Christina Garza on the front row. Ibarra's serve with some pace. Good pass, right on the money for the Bulldogs. Set up Gonzalez, got it over the block, easy point. Mackay cuts the lead to 3. And now Gonzalez rotates back to the back row. She'll serve. On the front row, Selena Signs now for the Lady Bulldogs. Up there with her as Heidi Moore. Serve across by Gonzalez. Passed up near the net. Moore right there, tips it across, point for Mackay. Moore has the height there and the reach to easily play that ball down. Gonzalez to serve again. Knuckleball's over. Guerra with a pass. Olivares sets it up on the angle. Played over by the Bulldogs. Back row attack. Gonzalez got it down. Point. 9-8. Lexi Gonzalez from the back row. Another serve coming up for Lexi Gonzalez for the Mackay Lady Bulldogs. Across, played by the Rivera Raiders. High set in the center. Spiked down, played by the Bulldogs on the pass. That goes out of bounds. Carried over the net, but out of bounds on the Rivera side. And the Lady Raiders up 2. As the serve across by Rochelle Guerra is an ace. Timeout called by Mackay. Rivera controlling the lead early here in game 1. A lot of volleyball to go. Back after this. Music lovers, you have to stop and see the assortment of records, tapes, and records memorabilia at Forever Memories today. Located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, Texas, there's over 10,000 records on display and more coming every day. Looking for your favorite album from the past, first pressings, collectibles? How about a 45 with a single you just have to have? Freddie Fender, Johnny Cash, Hank Williams, Elvis, Beatles, blues, rock, classics, Tejano, it's all here. Organized and priced for you. Forever Memories, 237 North Sam Houston, San Benito. Back here on Rio Sports Live, the Mackay Bulldogs took that timeout. Didn't waste too much time on the sideline. They're already out in a hurry. Meanwhile, the Brownsville Rivera Lady Raiders, who have a 3-point lead, took a little extra time there in the huddle, if nothing more to discuss that this team is not going to go away. Your opponent may be down 3, but coming out of this timeout, be prepared. Quick set, tip across, diving play, keeps it in the net, nothing doing. Mackay scores the point. Selena Signs that time, places that one in the spot. Bulldogs back to serve as Heidi Moore returns to the service line. Moore, a right-handed server. Got that over, played by Guerra. Back row attempt, that's Ibarra off the block, another point for Kenya Ibarra. I've said before, Ibarra is not just a front row player. They'll utilize her as a weapon off the back row. Serve goes long, out of bounds, point Mackay. If you count too many service errors against a team like this, you'll look up and whatever lead you had will be gone and the game will be concluded. You'll be on the wrong side of the scoreboard. That pass too far. Hammered down by the front row. Up front, Ada Sadlier puts it away. 1 point game as the Bulldogs now serve to tie it up. At the line, Maddie Helmkamp. Guerra with the pass. Olivares sets it up, backside. Ball blocked right back by Mackay. Guerra keeps this alive. Olivares sets Guerra up middle from the back row. Helmkamp's there to dig that. Set it up off the net right side, across on the Rivera side. That may have been going out. Set it up high, off the double block. Diving play keeps it alive for the Bulldogs, and then over the net. We'll check that in the net called on Mackay and a point to Rivera. Raiders just keeping pace here, maintaining the lead. Right now it's up at 2, 13-11, they'll serve across. Short serve, good pass this time. Helmkamp sets it up, quick hit by Sadlier. Dug on the back row, that's Alondra Guzman, and then a big kill down and a point. And Brownsville Rivera back up 3. Lady Raiders back at the service line. Christina Garza again. Ready to serve it up. They bunch up in the center on the Mackay side to return the serve. Gonzalez there. Pass to Helmkamp. Back set. Big spike played by the Raiders. Back row, there's Guerra again. Punched in the air by Helmkamp. Set up this time by Audrey Zamora. Ball back over on the Raiders side. Block back at you. Point Mackay. Bulldogs using a little of the same strategy that the Raiders employ, and that was just keep that one alive. Strong back row play, and then eventually your opponent in the wrong position. 2 point game. Raiders set it up. Ibarra back on the front row. Hammers that. Nice diving play that time by Selena Signs to keep it alive. Signs on a back row kills it, but kept alive by the Raiders. Ibarra again, this time a diving play by Helmkamp. Signs again from the back row, over. Ibarra to Olivares, sets it center, block back at you, punch back over on the Mackay side. Back we go. Gonzalez hammers it away. Well, that went from anybody's point to Lexi Gonzalez said enough of this. Put it away, 1 point game. As Gonzalez rotated front row, so did Kenya Ibarra. Back to serve now, Selena Signs for Mackay. Deep serve. Good pass, high set by Olivares. Ibarra trying to get past the block. This time carries it too far, out of bounds, and we're tied at 14 apiece. Ibarra that time on the approach, you could see her eyeing those blockers. Signs with a knuckleball deep serve that sails out of bounds, and Rivera regains the lead. Brownsville Rivera. Back at the service line now is Lisha Izagiri. Lisha serves it up. Played by the Bulldogs. High set center, Gonzalez. Nice dig. On the front row though, right there, the Bulldogs put it away and tie it up. Started on the kill by Gonzalez, and even though it was dug, when that dig gets right back and becomes a pass, all of those hitters at the front row able of ending any rally in a hurry. Bulldogs on the attack again. High set this time on the right side. Guerra makes a diving play. Olivares tries to set it up. Too far on the pass. Ball back on the Raiders side, one-handed over. Bulldogs on the attack. Helmkamp, Gonzalez, another kill, and a point for the Bulldogs. They take the lead. Bulldogs on top now at 16-15. And here, if you're Brownsville Rivera, you have to be extremely cautious. You controlled the lead through the most part of the game. Still with 10 points to decide this. McAllen capable of scoring 8 to 10 points in succession. There's another point. Bulldogs go up 2. 17-15. Back to serve Sabrina Garza. Venture to say if McAllen scores a point here, we'll probably see a timeout by Rivera. Good serve across. Passes up high. Olivares gets it in position, but the Bulldogs on the return of serve. Still from the back row. Free hit coming up for the Raiders. A rare opportunity to seriously go on the attack. Center set off the block. Punch back over on the Raiders side. Again, they'll pass it over. Guerra hits it to the back row. Played by Helmkamp. Racing over there. Hand on it with Signs. Ball back on the Raiders side. Free hit coming up. Watch out here for the Bulldogs. The pass on the money. Helmkamp punches it over on the second hit. Raiders there to cover that. Looking for the back row. Covered nicely by Sabrina Garza. Gonzalez now from the back row. Puts it away again, and McAllen goes up 3. 18-15 as the Bulldogs had the chance. And now the Raiders will use that timeout. I kind of thought that was coming. 3-point lead, Bulldogs on top. We continue with coverage of game 1 after this.
Everyone's a winner at Cono Auto Sales 2 in Harlingen. Choose from a wide selection and score big today on West Expressway 83.
Right now, check out this 2014 Hyundai Elantra GT. This car is loaded with a leather interior, satellite radio, Bluetooth, and it's yours today for 0 money down and $175 a month. That's right, no money down. Drive away today, just $175 a month. Or feel the power of this 2016 Dodge Challenger. This includes the RT Scat Pack, includes navigation, satellite radio, a reverse camera, an Alpine stereo system. Practically new with just 31,000 miles, powered by a 6.4-liter 392 Hemi engine. This today on the lot at $33,999.
Financing is available with lending for all types. Every deal's a winner at Cono Auto Sales 2 in business since 2002. Harlingen, Texas.
Back here after a timeout. The Lady Bulldogs will be serving as Sabrina Garza continues to serve here on this rotation through. Bulldogs trailed in this game at one point 14-11. Have now went on a 7-1 run. That serve sails out of bounds though. And a point to Brownsville Rivera. Lady Raiders back to serve. So the timeout worked in that advantage. Clarissa Olivares puts it in play. Gonzalez on the pass. Helmkamp there. Sets up Lexi Gonzalez. Block back at you. Point Rivera. The Raiders that time able to set a double block at the net. On that set for Gonzalez. Serve over. Looking for the tie now. The Raiders. McAllen on the attack. From the right side. Block back at you. High set. Back set Gonzalez. No blockers in place. Dug by Olivares. Ball up to Ibarra, puts it over, looking for the sideline. That lands in, point, we're all tied. Ibarra took just enough off of that it died to the back row there, thinking that was going to sail out of bounds. Nothing doing. Raiders to serve, now looking for the lead. They'll serve this across, played by the Bulldogs. Gonzalez on the pass to Helmkamp. Set up Lexi Gonzalez, tips it past the blockers, got a point. McAllen back up 1. 19-18, substitution in the game as Maddie Garza returns. She'll serve for McAllen. Rivera sends Ibarra back to the back row to assist. They've got 4 across that back row to return these serves. Short serve off the net, and that's an ace. McAllen now up 2, and they've reached 20 here in game 1. Next serve coming across. Played by the Lady Raiders. Off the net, punched into the net. Point McAllen. 3-point lead for McAllen. Another timeout by Rivera. Last time it worked. They scored 3 in a row. They're down 3 now as the Lady Raiders will talk it over. More coming up after this.
TVNS specializes in provider services, respite care, and emergency response services. TVNS are pioneers in the home care industry, in service for over 37 years. 11 locations from Brownsville to Corpus Christi, from Harlingen to Laredo.
Today's game is sponsored by TVNS, the pioneers in serving our community with the highest quality in provider services.
Our professional advisors at Employee Retirement Services have been providing financial and retirement planning for many years for employees of different employment.
If you've spent your career in education and are ready for the next chapter, let the professionals at Employment Retirement Services help. You've worked hard, and now it's time to relax and enjoy with peace of mind and security.
Help fulfill your retirement needs. Come experience the difference with us.
And let's plan your retirement together. Call us at 956-440-8774 to schedule your appointment today.
Lexi Gonzalez with another kill for the McAllen Lady Bulldogs, and out of the timeout, they now are up 4. Next serve by Garza, on the money with a pass by Guerra. Ball off the net, punched over the blockers, right back at you. Point McAllen. Looked like that was going to carry them past the blockers, nothing doing though. 5-point lead for McAllen. Garza to serve again. Jump serve across. Guerra dives to keep it alive. Ibarra now over by Olivares, and here come the Bulldogs attacking right side. That's off the block, punched in the air by the Raiders. They'll keep this one alive. Back row, gets it over. Bulldogs setting up Gonzalez. Got it down and in. Another point for McAllen. They go up 6. 1 point away from securing game 1 here, the Lady Bulldogs. Maddie Garza will be serving for the win. Jump serve across, played by Guerra. On the pass, to the left side, that's Guzman. Ball back over on the Bulldog side. They can look for the win right here. Back row plays that for a moment. Point McAllen, and they win game 1. Early on, Rivera controlled the lead. McAllen gained the lead and wins it by 7. Game 2 coming up. This is the best of 5. This is Rio Sports Live.
At HCISD, we move the needle forward every day.
We'll blaze a trail for future generations.
It's not just about equipping students with skills for the future. We awaken their potential and empower them to make good choices.
No matter where you're from or where you're headed, there's a place for you to flourish at HCISD.
Fans, if you want to look your best at the next game, then let Chewy's Custom Sports go to work for you. From custom designs and graphics to mass production in-house. If it's hats, shirts, buttons, mugs, cups, banners, and more, then Chewy's is there for every team and every sport. A veteran-owned company in touch with the community. It's Chewy's Custom Sports in San Benito.
Hi, we're Mission Veterans, and thank you for watching Real Sports Live.
Back here on Rio Sports Live as we are in between games 1 and 2 of this best of 5. McAllen Lady Bulldogs on the road taking on the Brownsville Rivera Lady Raiders. Game 1 was competitive. We thought Rivera would be able to play defense and stay in this game. They did, and it was just the firepower of the McAllen Bulldogs that took over late and propelled themselves to the Game 1 victory. 25-18 the final score in Game 1. Game 2, first serve coming up after this.
We are this close.
We're this close.
We are this close. Of uncertainty to making history.
This close to changing the world.
We are this close.
This close. This close to making sure no child suffers a crippling disease
ever again. This close.
We are this close to ending polio.
Ending polio. All we need is you.
This close.
If we don't act now, we may lose this chance forever. Help Rotary make history at endpolionow.org.
Fishing fans, here's your chance to catch some fish and help out athletes at the same time. Mark the calendar now and plan on attending October 20th
as the 3-up, 3-down San Perlita Booster Club Fishing Tournament looks to be the biggest and best yet. Located at Laguna Madre Baits in Port Mansfield, Texas, this tournament is set to provide 100% of the proceeds directly to the athletic programs. Artificial lures only with a blackjack format, no fish over 21 inches, $150 per team or boat, maximum 4 people, and the grand champion is a team closest to 63 inches with 1 red trout and 1 flounder. Food raffles, baked goods, a silent auction, and terrific prizes from some great sponsors. Registration is October 19th. The tournament is October 20th. See you there at the 3-up, 3-down fishing tournament in Port Mansfield, where catching fish is helping athletes in a big, big way.
Back here on Rio Sports Live after we see the commercial there running for that fishing tournament. Be sure you sign up for that. Looks like a lot of fun out there. A lot of raffles, a lot of prizes, and of course, chance to fish and help with the athletes here in the Rio Grande Valley. First hit on the game 2 out of bounds, and that gives a point to the Rivera Lady Raiders. And they'll serve again. This time it's Christina Garza starting it off. That's in the net. A service there ties us up at 1 apiece. And they'll hand the ball to Selena Signs to serve it up for McAllen. Signs with a jump serve, gets it across, played by the Lady Raiders. Set it up to Kenya Ibarra. Back row there, nice dig this time by Audrey Zamora in the game. Gonzalez then applies the hammer. And Mackay goes up 2-1 in game 2. Started with a pass by Zamora. Anytime you have someone able to return a serve and put it right on the money for your setter, good things can happen. Deep serve this time. Raiders try to get it over, nothing doing. Ibarra was just simply trying to keep that ball in play. That's not what you want your outside hitter in position doing. Signs gets it across. Guerra with a better pass. Zamora sets it up. Tipped over the blockers. Covered nicely on the back row. Again, that's Selena Signs this time. Guerra with a pass. High set for Ibarra. Over the blockers. That is out of bounds. Point Mackay. They go up 4-1 early. Jump serve across. Guerra on the return, punches that in the air. Kept alive. Bulldogs, real good chance here to score, and Gonzalez doesn't miss. 5-1, Lexi Gonzalez, and the Bulldogs feeding off the momentum of that late surge in game 1. Now up 5-1 out of the gate here in game number 2. Short serve across. Played over on the Mackay on the return of serve. Jump set back for Sadlier. Over on the Rivera side. Ibarra, free hit coming up for the Bulldogs. Helmkamp, jump set. Gonzalez down the line, another point. Steady dose of Lexi Gonzalez right now by the Mackay Bulldogs. Up 6-1 to start game 2. Lost in this is the serving. Signs has kept them off balance. This time they'll pass it, get a better set, but the hit goes out of bounds. 7-1 lead for the Mackay Lady Bulldogs. Signs continues to serve. Jump serve across, played on the back row. Free hit coming up for the Bulldogs of McAllen. Another jump set, this time Sadlier puts it away. Ada Sadlier on a gift wrap set. And an 8-1 lead for the Bulldogs. Timeout by the Rivera Raiders. Game 2 continues after this.
How to add the VTX1 app to your Roku device. All your favorite shows from VTX1 Channel 1 and exciting games broadcast on Rio Sports Live can be added onto your Roku device by following these simple steps. Step 1. Scroll down to search and push OK on the remote control. Step 2. Type in VTX1 by using the arrow keys to move the cursor around the keyboard and pushing OK to enter the letters. When you're done, choose the VTX1 option on the right-hand side of the screen. Then push OK. Step 3. Choose the Add.
We'll get back here on how to add our Roku channel. Remember those instructions. Find the VTX1 on your Roku device or television. Once you get the VTX1 app, then you click on that. The two channels that'll pop up, VTX1 and Rio Sports Live. In conjunction with VTX1, we are providing opportunities for fans to tune in 24 hours, 7 days a week on either live or recorded sports content from around this area. After the timeout, we'll see how the Rivera Lady Raiders are able to respond to an early 7-point deficit. Signs serves it across and serves up an ace. And Selena Signs continues to produce this time around from the service line. That's a good back row she's serving at, keeping them off base. Too strong on this one, it carries out of bounds, and Rivera now will serve. Nothing else, you get Signs off the line. Leisha Izagiri back to serve. Deep arcing serve, played by the back row, good pass. Helmkamp sets it up, Gonzalez. Back row right there to dig that. Nice dig that time by Aislinn Tapia. Ball back over on the Mac High side. Good chance here for the Raiders. Ball in the net, and the Raiders score the point. Gonzalez didn't have much to work with there. Had she hit that ball, Kenya Ibarra was in perfect position to make a play. 6-point lead, though, for the Bulldogs. Raiders going to have to dig deep to get back into this one. No points are going to be easy. Sadlier got it past the block, got it in a seam, and found the point. Ada Sadlier back at you with a point. Substitution, two players now checking in for Mac High. Sabrina Garza checks in to serve. Heidi Moore to the front row. Deep serve back on the back row of the Raiders. Ibarra off the net, got it over. Easy return this time, a high set, back set. Punched over, punched in the air, ball at the net, and Gonzalez puts it away. That became a set by the Raiders for the Bulldogs, as that ball just softly floated right up for Lexi Gonzalez. 8-point lead. Served by Sabrina Garza. Off the net, that goes in the net, point Mac High. They go up 12-3. If you're just joining us, game one was close. As a matter of fact, Brownsville Rivera had a lead past the midway point. Bulldogs have switched into another gear here. Helmkamp passes that. Ball set up for Gonzalez, and another kill for Lexi Gonzalez. Lexi Gonzalez is having a monster night here in Brownsville, Texas, against this Raider team. Serve over, played by the Raiders. They'll set it up off the net, off the blockers, punched in the air. Gonzalez pass to Helmkamp, one hands it over. Guerra there, set up Kenya Ibarra, tips it past the blockers on an angle, and got the point. Ibarra saw the blockers there and their wide open space. Just had to make sure she didn't put too much on that to carry it out of bounds. Gonzalez helped her by putting a hand on it. High set, Lexi Gonzalez, another kill. And the percentage of kill points now for Lexi Gonzalez is racking up. It's not only that she's there, it's when they set her, it ends the rally for the point. Maddie Garza back to serve. Double-digit lead for the Bulldogs. First time I've said that on the night between games 1 and 2. Chance to build on that lead. A high set and put away this time on the right side by Heidi Moore. Moore joining the mix. So Moore, Sadlier, and Gonzalez all showing that when they're up there, they can be a focal point of the offense. Another serve by Garza. Ibarra on the return. They'll set up Kenya Ibarra. Back row there to play that. Ball at the net, punch back over, and a point for Rivera. As this time, Alondra Guzman makes a play. 10-point lead. Kenya Ibarra back to serve for the Lady Raiders of Brownsville Rivera. And her serve across. Played by the Bulldogs. Back set Lexi Gonzalez. Guerra got a hand on that, and somehow they try to keep it alive, nothing doing. Point Mac High, Lexi Gonzalez. All-out effort that time on that second hit as Clarissa Olivares was head first, heading to the bench, trying to make that play. Bulldogs will set it up on the serve by Lexi Gonzalez. Played by Guerra, they'll set it up on the left side. That's Christina Garza on the kill attempt. Bulldogs right back at you on the angle, and Selena Signs in on the mix, gets the kill. Signs makes it a 17-5 game. Bulldogs to serve again. Gonzalez to put it in play. In the net it goes. Point Rivera. Couple of service errors this game by the Mac High Lady Bulldogs. Back to serve, Rochelle Guerra. Gonzalez on the pass. The setter this time is Maddie Garza, and the kill is down for the point. So Garza joining Helmkamp as a setter that time through. Garza will now check out as Ada Sadlier checks back in. Timeout called by the Raiders. Double-digit lead and some. Up by a dozen Bulldogs in game 2. Back after this.
When in Port Mansfield, be sure to stop in Laguna Madre Baits, the home of Laguna Girl 1 and 2. They ensure that you have the best when it comes to your fishing needs. Locally caught bait, including live shrimp and croaker. Frozen baits, caught locally, frozen shrimp, squid, mullet, and more. Dress the part with full outdoor apparel. Drinks, ice, snacks, groceries, and fishing supplies for any need. Access by road or by boat. Look for the blue building and the blue shrimp boats, Laguna Madre Baits. 828 Westport Drive, Port Mansfield, Texas.
Back here as we wait for the Lady Raiders to exit the huddle after a timeout call. Fans, I see some fans watching from not just within the state, but outside the state of Texas, and we send an appreciative note out in your direction for tuning in. Any fans watching on our social media, we always ask those watching on Facebook, help us out by sharing the link. It allows other fans. A lot of fans still don't know what we are and what we're about. And sharing these broadcasts, especially on the Facebook side, will help us get the word out. On our YouTube channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you'll get notifications as when we go live for additional broadcasts. Rivera scores a point. We also saw the Roku television channel. We always encourage fans to go that route, to be able to watch sports on the television at the house anytime. Point Mac High scores. They go up by 12 again at 19-7. Checking in the game, Andrea Tovar will check in for Mac High. Maddie Helmkamp back to serve. Helmkamp to put it into play. Jump serve across, right back on the Mac High side. Helmkamp the setter again. Back sets this, covered by the Raiders of Brownsville Rivera. Guerra on the back row, attack in the net though, point Mac High. Bulldogs up 20-7. And serving here in game 2. Deep serve, Guerra there to return it. Set up this time by Olivares again. Played after the hit. Here are the Bulldogs attacking. Guerra there to dig it. Olivares sets it up high, off the net. This is Garza, puts it over, got the point for the Raiders. Christina Garza on the kill. Billy Watson and DeMarcus over at Los Fresnos tonight. Nikki Rowe in town to take on the Lady Falcons. We're here with System 1, that's System 2. As that spike comes across by Sadlier. Put this in perspective. That's 2 of the 12 systems that are operational tonight. As we continue to get the advertising in place, and it's starting to roll, we will employ more and more of those systems out there. We could easily have been at Edinburgh North Harlingen tonight, and additional broadcast and expanded the coverage for the fans wanting to see their teams in action. Football season already week 1. I've got 20 games slated that we'll be covering. Looking for computer operators that'll assist us during football season. If you have a favorite team, you want to go to the games, and you want to make a little extra, reach out to me. Our computer operators are just as important as the play-by-play individuals and the camera operators on certain stadiums. Now, you're not going to make a fortune. If we had all the systems in play and you saw all the advertisers sold out, well, then we would obviously be paying a lot more. You won't make a fortune, but you'll get to see the games. You'll get paid, and you'll be a part of something as far as broadcasting at another level. Ibarra hits that one off the blockers, played by the Bulldogs, and then it goes, though. Point Rivera. Your Brownsville Rivera right now, you want to take a page out of how Mac High closed out game 1. And you want to use that to carry momentum into game 3. Already you look ahead. Gonzalez returns that up near the net. Back set, tipped over the net, and point for Mac High. A kind roll over the net provided the point for McAllen. Bulldogs will substitute again as Maddie Garza returns to the game. She'll serve. Gonzalez back to the front row. Joining her is 80 Moore. Short serve. Raiders on the back set for Ibarra. Tips it on the angle. Out of bounds it goes, and Mac High a point away from securing game 2. They took game 1, 25-18, up here in game 2 by 14 points. As Maddie Garza serves it up. Jump serve across. Pass up near the net. Gonzalez right there plays it down, and Mac High wins game 2, 25-10. 2-0, the Lady Bulldogs lead in this series. It's a best of 5. We'll be back with game 3 right after this.
Before you have time to worry, we'll get you taken care of fast and easy. Now you can get back to your day with a healthy smile.
Truck Techs in Harlingen is your source for lifts, wheels, and tires. Talking trucks of any size, any model, and any year. Specializing in accessories with top-of-the-line products to bring that special look to your truck in a professional way. Lifts, wheels, and tires, with financing available too. Call today or stop by Truck Techs in Harlingen. For your construction needs in the Rio Grande Valley, check out Hosanna Construction in Farr. Formerly known as Guzman Construction, Hosanna Construction can design and build your home or take care of your home improvements. 802 East Expressway 83, Farr, Texas, Hosanna Construction. Formerly known as Guzman Construction. Call now for free consultations at 956-435-0381. Hosanna Construction, committed to serving you.
Back here on Rio Sports Live as we pan the camera here from the left side to the right side. There's your home team, Brownsville Rivera Lady Raiders. And Now they're backs against the wall as they've fell the first 2 games here to a very powerful McAllen Lady Bulldog team who find themselves up. I want to send a shout out to Lexi Gonzalez and her mom watching out of state. She told us she was going to be making a trip, taking her other daughter back to college. So we send a shout back in that direction. Thanks for joining in. And how cool is it to get to watch the game from out of state? One of the reasons why we're doing this is to provide opportunity for fans who from the area, leave the area, are out of town in some cases, are working. Just many cases in which we've allowed parents and grandparents and relatives and just fans in general a chance to watch some of these teams. We certainly enjoy doing it. Billy and I were out racing around, and I mean racing around to get systems in place today. Tomorrow we'll be doing the same thing as I try to get set up for the Port Isabel tournament and the tournament over in Mission. And we're doing everything we can to get that funded over there on the southwest side so that we can start bringing you games from the Laredo and Eagle Pass and San Antonio areas on a regular basis. Game 3 of the best of 5. Raiders serve it across and away we go. Bulldogs set it up in the middle. Signs, diving play by Guerra keeps that alive. Ball at the net, challenge won by the Bulldogs. 1-0, Mackay takes the lead. Signs had just a great serving game in game 2. And this time produces the first point in game 3. Maddie Helmkamp back to serve for the Bulldogs. Meanwhile, they substitute in the game as Alexa Ramirez checks in on the front row for Mackay. Serve across, good pass this time. Well, that goes out of bounds. Service ace by the Bulldogs. That was a pass that Alondra Guzman normally is going to handle with ease for the Raiders. Helmkamp with the ace, she'll serve again. Better pace this time on a knuckleball. That was a tougher return. Ibarra on the set, blocked by the Bulldogs. They'll set up Ibarra again. Tipped it past the blockers. Helmkamp tried to keep it alive, nothing doing, point Rivera. On the kill by Kenya Ibarra. Lisha Izagiri back to serve. From the center, serves it deep on the back row, played by the Bulldogs. Back row, here's Gonzalez. Good pass this time, a high set middle. Ibarra blocked back at you. Raiders can't cover it, point Mackay. That time just too much height of the net. Ada Sadlier was there, got a hand on that. As they tried to tip it over the block. Point Mackay, they're up 3-1. Serve across, Raiders return it right back of the net. Down it goes. Sadlier and Gonzalez right there, and that's just double trouble. That ball comes anywhere near the net. Signs the serve again. Selena Signs, this time airs that out of bounds. Much different than her trip across the first time through in game 2. That time she was finished serving, the lead had propelled out into double digits for the Bulldogs. This is going to be in the net call, and a point to Rivera. Makes it a 4-3 game. Brownsville Rivera in game 1 led past the midway point. McAllen just kept coming and eventually took control of that game late. High set for Gonzalez. Good return this time. Back row attack by Guerra. Oh, nice return this time by Audrey Zamora back there. Here's Gonzalez again. Block back at you, point Rivera. We're tied. Back row for either team making plays. And then the thunder off the front row for Rivera. Serve across, played by the Bulldogs. High set on a back set this time. Hit across by Zamora. Free hit coming up for the Bulldogs. Passes there, Helmkamp sets up Gonzalez, past the block. Guerra gets that up into the rafters. They'll keep it alive and get it back over on the Mackay side. Bulldogs right back at you again, Gonzalez. This time got the point. some point, the blockers have to get a hand on some of those. Otherwise, those are just point-blank shots coming back at that back row of the Lady Raiders. Serve over by Sadlier. Raiders off the net, block back at you, point. That time, Alondra Guzman went for the attack. Took some pace off of that and just allowed the blockers to easily play that one down. Serve across, Guerra there with a pass. Back set this time, Ibarra tips it past the blockers. Nice cover that time by Ramirez. Here's Gonzalez, down it goes, another point. Lexi Gonzalez makes it a 7-4 game. Ada Sadlier back to serve. Our coverage continues of volleyball. I'm doing 12 games on Friday from Mission Vets. We're also having coverage of the tournament over in Port Isabel. That crew will have 6 games, so that's 18 games in one day. We'll do it again on Saturday, leading into the championship game of both tournaments. And we may have a third system in play. We're looking to have 4 systems in play by the time tournament action starts the following week. Then football season begins. That serve is across and a point for Mackay. They go up by 3. Bulldogs again will be on the road after this. They'll travel to San Antonio on, the team leaves on Thursday. They play Friday and Saturday. And boy, Freddie's even trying to get up and cover that tournament. Serve across, short serve played by the Raiders. They'll keep it alive. Guerra able to get it over. Mackay on the attack, Bulldogs, Gonzalez, and another point. Gonzalez on the kill. Now a 9-6 game as the Lady Raiders are able to score. Brownsville Rivera. Here you need a couple of points in a row as Michelle Guerra serves it up. Bulldogs now with that 3-point lead, trying to build. Gonzalez gets it down off the net, point, Mackay. Ibarra got a hand on that on the back row, but just too much on that. And no way to control it on a pass. Gonzalez rotates back to serve. Lexi Gonzalez puts it in play. That's an ace. Lexi Gonzalez with an ace for the Bulldogs. They're up 5. She'll serve again. Played by the Raiders. Ball up at the net and another point. That time Signs and Haiti Moore were there. Bulldogs up 6 as Gonzalez serves again. Raiders with a good pass this time. A high set. Spiked off the block and a point for the Raiders. And that time you could see a little different approach there. Elisha Izagiri just attacked right at those blockers. Provided the point. Bulldogs coming right back at you. This is Signs with the angle. That's a point for the Bulldogs. Signs shows she has some power there at the net as well. 6-point game. Sadlier checks in for the Mackay Bulldogs. Back to serve is Haiti Moore. Got that across, played by the Raiders. Bulldogs on a back set this time. Helmkamp becomes the hitter. Played by the Raiders. Spiked off the block. That's a point on a kill by Christina Garza. 5-point game. Substitute in the ball game now. Andrea Tovar will check in for the Bulldogs of Mackay. Ada Sadlier has a seat on the bench. Tovar to the front row, joining Maddie Garza. Serve across, a good one played by Gonzalez on the pass. They'll set up Lexi Gonzalez. Back row attempt, got the point. Scanning the defenses on the back row approach. And those are by design. When you see those placed in wide open spots in the back row of the defense, that's talent on the back row by the hitter. Raiders will set it up off the net. Free hit coming up for the Bulldogs. A lot of options here for Helmkamp. She'll set it on the center. Spiked over, but it's a play by the Raiders. Ibarra attacks, got the point. Kenya Ibarra. Elisha Izagiri back to serve. Puts it across. Right down the line, that's a point on an ace. 4-point game. Izagiri to serve again. Short serve. Better pass this time by the Bulldogs. Back set. Spiked across, punched in the air, ball up at the net and hammered down by Signs. Signs puts that one away. Bulldogs back up by 5 as Signs rotates back to serve, and that means Gonzalez back on the front row for the Bulldogs. Raiders on the approach, set it up for Ibarra, tipped it past the blockers, point Rivera. Ibarra had a lot of room to work with that time on the curl. Saw the blockers in front. Took that back to the open area. Bulldogs. Helmkamp punches it up, tipped across. Guerra keeps it alive for a moment. Nothing doing. Point Mac High. Good hustle by the Lady Raiders, but point Bulldogs. Substitutes back in the game for Mac High. Back to the service line, Sabrina Garza. Garza gets it just across the net. Good pass this time by Darlene Longoria now in the ball game. There's a point for Mac High. 6-point lead for the Lady Bulldogs. They're relentless. They just keep coming at you. You make a little run, edge into the lead, but then they just comfortably ease back out. Up by 6. Set up at the middle, past the blockers, and a point for Rivera. Kill that time by Guzman found the spot. Kenya Ibarra rotates back to serve. Back on the front row, Christina Garza for the Lady Raiders of Brownsville Rivera. Our thanks to the Brownsville School District for assisting us in broadcasting this game. They were here earlier today, met with our new IT guy that was assisting us. Back angle in the corner, point Mac High on that one. Heidi Moore on the kill. Maddie Garza back in the game. She'll serve now for Mac High. Jump serve across, played by Guerra for Rivera. Back to Guerra on the back row. Puts it over on the McAllen side. Set up Lexi Gonzalez. Guerra there to dig that. Set it up off the net, down the line. That's a point for the Raiders. Well placed kill that time, Alondra Guzman. Substitution back in now for Brownsville Rivera as Elisha Izagiri back in the game. She moves to the front row. Meanwhile, served by Rochelle Guerra. Ball up right at the net on the pass and a big kill. Played though by the Raiders. Ball still alive. Third hit over. Free hit coming up for the Bulldogs of Mac High. Back set. There's Gonzalez. Got it again. They went center set on the first approach, Heidi Moore. But then Gonzalez from the outside on the right side that time. Able to finish it off. 6-point lead for the Bulldogs as Gonzalez serves again. Guerra there on the return. High set. Off the net this time. Played by the Bulldogs. Set up Signs. Got it past the block. Kept alive by the back row of the Raiders. Back over on the Mac High side. They'll attack again. This time on a curl. That's blocked back at you. And a point for Rivera. Raiders that time Went right at the hit. Blocked it in for the point. They'll serve here. Down by 5. Down the line, played by the Bulldogs. Free hit coming up for the Raiders. Rare opportunity here for the chance. Set it up, off the block. Gonzalez back there to keep that alive. Helmkamp now delivers a big hit, played by the back row. Free hit coming up for the Bulldogs. They can set it up. High set, Signs on the angle, got the point. Signs delivers a big hit. 6-point lead for the Bulldogs. That time you circled that opportunity for the Raiders of Brownsville Rivera. You're not going to get too many free balls across. When you do, you have to deliver something big. Ball up high off the net. Raiders hit it across. Gonzalez is right there. Ball back over. McAllen will set it up. Signs gets it over. Played by the Raiders. Guerra there to tip it across. Played by Gonzalez. Here come the Bulldogs. And that's Sadlier. Played, though, by the Raiders. They'll keep this alive for a moment. Garza gets it over. Good play on the back row by Moore. Gonzalez in the net with that one. Point Rivera. And that reflects more of the way the play was in game 1 between these two teams, when the longer sustained rallies gave opportunities for this Raider team to get on the scoreboard. They're trailing by 5 here. Short serve, Gonzalez with a good pass. High set, Signs. Another big hit by Signs, played by the Raiders. Raiders get it over. Bulldogs on the attack again. Jump set, this is Helmkamp. And a point for the McAllen Bulldogs. Matty Helmkamp on the kill. Back off the bench, Alexa Ramirez for the Bulldogs as Helmkamp rotates back to serve. 6-point lead, 4 points away from a 3-game sweep are the Bulldogs. Helmkamp serves it up. Raiders on a good pass. Set it up, Ibarra got it past the block, and that's a point. On the kill across for Kenya Ibarra. Raiders to serve it up. Short serve this time, played by the Bulldogs. Back set, that's a spike across by Signs. Selena Signs has been instrumental here in this play thus far. Point for the Raiders. So now they cut the lead to 4. Brownsville Rivera. This off the serving of Laisha Izaguirre. Izaguirre ready to serve again. Knuckleballs it over. Gonzalez with a pass to Helmkamp, punches it over. Raiders setting it up off the net. Block back at you, but it hits the net first. Point McAllen. Missed chance that time for the Lady Raiders. And right now you can't afford to give away points if you're trying to stay in this game. The Bulldogs are trying to put this away in 3 quick games. Raiders on the attack, set it up at the net, tipped over, played by Gonzalez. Back set this time for Signs, or check that, that's Ramirez. Ball by the Raiders, hit over on the Bulldog side. Helmkamp sets it up, Gonzalez tips it over the block. Covered nicely this time by the Raiders. Set it up past the block, played by Helmkamp. Ball at the net, Gonzalez tips it over, out of bounds it goes. In the net though, Raiders, point McAllen. (23-17) the score. They had to retrieve the ball. They'll take care of that. And now set it up. Served by Signs. That is an ace. We'll be naming a player of the game at the conclusion of this. Right now, plenty of opportunities to elect players for the player of the game in this one. Signs serving up. Played by the Raiders. Off the net. Punched over. Bulldogs looking to put it away right here. Gonzalez gets it over. Good play that time by Guzman to keep it alive. Attack by the Raiders. Punched up in the air. Helmkamp there. Signs from the back row. Attacks. Played by the Raiders. Ball back over on the Mac High side. Raiders dig that again. Off the back row is Guerra. Back row plays that for the Bulldogs. Set it up to Gonzalez, and game over. Lexi Gonzalez on the kill. And the Mac High Bulldogs end up sweeping here in 3 games as they take game 3 here. 25-17. At this point, we'll hone in on the Mac High Lady Bulldogs. And we'll find our player of the game, which is right there. I'm going to name it to Selena Signs, number 11. Signs end up with her service strength in game 2. And then any time she was at the net, produced as well for the Mac High Lady Bulldogs, as they were able to secure the victory here today on the road against the Lady Raiders of Brownsville Rivera. I want to remind you again, additional broadcasts coming up of our volleyball coverage, as we'll be in 2 places at one time again on Friday, when we'll be at Mission Veterans and at Port Isabel, covering 2 different volleyball tournaments. And by the time the weekend's said and done, well over 30 more games will be broadcast for you, the fans. We'll do it again the next week, and that leads us into football season, where already I've got 20 football games scheduled for broadcast in the first week of high school football. Some of those will be audio only, but some of those will be video as we continue with our expanded coverage. That's going to do it for the broadcast. My thanks to my wife, Dahlia, for running the show. Again, our player of the game, she's got it, Selena Signs. And the Mac High Bulldogs win this one. Till next time, from Brownsville, Texas, home of the Rivera Raiders, this has been a presentation of Rio Sports Live. Good night.